this is all the brainchild of Steve. Jake was my mentor back when I was nobody in wrestling. He taught me stuff that, you know, would have taken years. When you start wrestling at 35, when you have someone who really teaches you, and you take those, and your career takes off when you're 40. When my career took off, his took a downturn, and we hadn't talked for a really long time, and I knew he was in a really bad place, so I called him up and said, listen, I got this program. I would love you to try it. You know, if you can actually do some on your own and actually lose. He was up to 307 pounds. His body was brutally beaten up. I said, if you can do some of the work yourself, I will help you and move you to Atlanta. And that's how it all started, because Steve put it in my head.
Scott, what was it like for you, and Jake, for you? This is the biggest screen you've ever seen it on. I know you guys have screened it a lot at the Accountability Crib, and you've probably seen it other places. What was it like seeing it on the big screen this morning?
Well, for me, I wasn't that thrilled about watching because I was living it, and it's, you know, I didn't want to keep pulling the scab off. You know, it was, the wound was still fresh. It's the first time I've seen it in front of an audience and seen the ending that Steve came up with, and I just it was really emotional, but I feel good now. It was really tough to sit through it, but I feel kind of cleansed now.
Jake, how is it for you?
I get the same thing. You know, I feel like the beast has been beat back. You know. I mean, you never get away from alcoholism or addiction. It's always going to be there. You got to accept that. That's the hardest part. I am a junkie. I'm a drunk. Okay, now let's do something about it. For me, this guy right here, I wouldn't be here, man. I'd be dead, you know, at least 2 years ago. Because I was trying to die. I begged to die. I would curse God when somebody else died. And this guy reached out to me. When I first went there, I thought, well, maybe I'll last a week. Because I was doing 8 ball a day, man. That was my regimen, you know, 8 ball, that's a good start. Then you go to the booze. And then the nights whenever you're all alone and you want to die because you hate yourself. Nothing good about that, man. But today I can stand proud, man, because I got a daughter, one of my 8 children. It's emotional, but it's worth every damn minute, man.
Yeah, so for those of you guys that don't know, during Jake's recovery, he's working out the Accountability Crib with Dallas doing DDP yoga, and he blows out his shoulder on camera. And Jake didn't have health insurance and didn't have money for his shoulder surgery, and they put together a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo, and within 24 hours, they raised over 75% of the money that Jake needed for his surgery in 24 hours on Indiegogo, and it's in the movie. And
they raised like 30 grand, man. I mean, I only needed about 10 for my shoulder, but I had 20 left, so I actually thought about getting a boob job, but I didn't. I had to do
I know you had to get it in.
Just to piss him off.
We actually did an Indiegogo campaign for Scott as well to get him a full hip replacement. And we raised, what, $109,000 in 3 weeks.
Whoa, Scott, your hip sounded like a marching band when you were doing the yoga. It was sounding like the rat-a-tat out of a drum.
Yeah, actually, I was really, really sick, and I was in intensive care in a hospital in Orlando where there was no visitors, no phone calls, anything. I just drank myself into heart failure. You know, I was having orthopedic problems. The only person allowed in the room was this kid serving the food. And this guy's a huge wrestling fan. And I like to be cool to the fans, but I mean, I got IVs in both arms, oxygen in my nose. I really don't feel like talking.
Yeah.
And the dude is so excited. He's going, man, let me show you what's happening. Have you heard what Jake's doing? He's with Dally. He's doing this. He pulled out his phone and showed me a before and after at that point of Jake's progress. And I remember thinking, I've never partied with Jake. I'm happy to say we've never partied together.
We
don't plan on now, but
nope.
I remember seeing that thinking, wow, I had heard about Jake, and I thought, man, if Jake can do it, then there's hope for me.
Absolutely.
And when, you know, Dally called, I actually answered the phone, and fast forward a couple years, and here I sit.
10 years. I mean, I call him over that 10-year period, probably 20 times. Never answer, nothing.
Just Scott and Jake?
That night, he answered the phone.
Yeah.